Welcome to Outside Views. Today we're diving into a topic that continues to haunt Britain's economy, also politics and international reputation, and that is Brexit. Years after the referendum, the reality is clear. Brexit has been the biggest mistake of a lifetime. The promised benefits never materialized and the costs keep mounting. And even some of its former supporters are now admitting that the country made a terrible decision. From economic turmoil to political instability, from travel chaos to trade barriers, Brexit has affected every aspect of life in the UK. But despite the overwhelming evidence, there are still those who refuse to acknowledge reality. And today we will break down why Brexit has failed, what its real impact has been, and why the growing call to reverse course is more than just wishful thinking. We will analyze the facts, the consequences, and the voices, some of them unexpected, that are now calling Brexit a mistake. But let's start with the economy. When Brexit was sold to the public, it was painted as a way to take back control, boost the economy, and strengthen Britain's global standing. The reality? The opposite happened. Since leaving the EU, the UK's GDP has taken a significant hit. And according to the Office for Budget Responsibility, Brexit has wiped out around 4% of the UK's economic output. And that's billions of pounds lost each year in trade, investment, and economic growth. And trade in particular has suffered immensely. Exports to the EU have declined sharply. UK businesses now face massive paperwork, border delays, and increased costs when trading with their closest and most important market. The government's own statistics show that UK goods exports to the EU are down by 27% compared to pre-Brexit levels. Meanwhile, other G7 countries, including EU members, have seen their trade volumes increase. And then there's the issue of foreign investment. Before Brexit, the UK was one of the most attractive destinations for investment in Europe, thanks to its access to the single market. But since Brexit, foreign investment has plummeted, with companies choosing France, Germany, and the Netherlands over Britain. The uncertainty surrounding trade regulations and economic policy has made investors hesitant to commit to the UK. Financial services, a critical sector for the UK economy, has also suffered, with tens of thousands of jobs relocating to EU financial hubs such as Frankfurt, Paris, and Amsterdam. And moving beyond the economy, let's talk about travel and daily life. One of the most visible and frustrating consequences of Brexit is the travel chaos that Britons now face when going to the EU. Long queues at border controls, new visa restrictions, and costly roaming charges are just the beginning. UK citizens have lost their automatic right to live and work anywhere in the EU, a freedom that millions had enjoyed. For young people, students and professionals, Brexit has closed doors that were once wide open. And it's not just individual travellers who are affected. Businesses reliant on travel, including the music and arts industries, have been hit hard. British musicians and performers now struggle with visa requirements and expensive work permits just to tour in Europe. And this has led to cancelled gigs, lost revenue, and declining opportunities for UK talent on the global stage. The impact on farmers and food supply has been another disaster. Brexit has disrupted supply chains, leading to labour shortages in agriculture, increased food prices, and empty supermarket shelves. Seasonal workers from the EU, who once formed the backbone of the UK's farming industry, have been deterred by visa restrictions and bureaucracy. As a result, crops have been left to rot in fields, and farmers have struggled to keep their businesses afloat. Food import costs have also risen due to the new customs checks and tariffs, directly affecting consumers who now pay more for basic groceries. And even Brexit's supposed benefits, such as controlling immigration, have proven to be a lie. Brexit supporters claimed that leaving the EU would reduce immigration and give Britain full control over its borders. Yet, net migration to the UK has actually increased since Brexit. Instead of EU workers coming in, Britain now relies more on non-EU migrants, often with even fewer labour protections. And this has not reduced pressure on public services or improved wages, as some Brexit proponents had promised. So if Brexit has been such a disaster, why do some still refuse to admit it? Some cling to the idea that Brexit is a long-term project and that benefits will eventually emerge. Others refuse to acknowledge their mistake out of sheer pride and political stubbornness. But the tide is turning. A growing majority of Britons now recognize that Brexit has failed. Poll after poll shows that the public wants a closer relationship with the EU, with many even supporting full EU membership once again. High-profile figures, including former Brexit supporters, have publicly admitted that leaving the EU was a mistake. Jeremy Clarkson, known for his outspoken and often controversial opinions, has now declared Brexit the biggest mistake of his lifetime. His frustrations with post-Brexit bureaucracy, border delays, and economic stagnation reflect the experience of millions of Britons. Even Alan Sugar, another prominent businessman, has stated that he would crawl on his hands and knees to get Britain back into the EU. But let's be clear, as I said in many of my videos, returning to the EU would not be a simple process. The UK cannot just rejoin as if Brexit never happened. Instead, it would need to apply as a new candidate and go through the rigorous accession process, meeting all EU requirements without the special privileges it once had. That's what my 35-chapter series is about. There would be no opt-outs, no rebates, and no special treatment. Britain would have to align fully with EU laws and policies, a prospect that some Brexit supporters still refuse to accept. So what happens next? The Labour government under Keir Starmer has taken, let's say, cautious steps towards improving relations with the EU, but it remains hesitant to push for full membership. However, economic reality may force their hand at some point. As the UK struggles with slow growth, but also with trade barriers and declining global influence, pressures will mount to seek deeper integration with Europe. And if public opinion continues to shift, political leaders will have no choice but to listen. Brexit was a mistake, and now more than ever, Britain needs to face the truth. The costs are undeniable, and the supposed benefits have failed to materialize. And as calls for a closer relationship with the EU grow louder, the question is no longer whether Brexit was the wrong decision. It is what Britain will do to fix it. So thank you for watching Outside Views, and if you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into UK politics. And let us know in the comments what you think about Brexit's impact and what you believe Britain's next steps should be. See you next time, and the next video is right here in the end screen.